So I stumbled across this tweet talking about earning $150,000 in LA and asking the genuine question, with $150,000 being a high salary in the US, how does anyone afford to live in a major city, and kind of walk through all the expenses? So I thought I'd just kind of break down a financial plan and see if this person, or if a person with this type of income and expenses, would be able to become financially independent and maintain a lifestyle in Los Angeles. Let's just say this person is 5-6 years out of college, they just got a big promotion, and now they're making that $150K. Maybe that seems unrealistic for the average across the US, but that's kind of on par for a lot of tech employees in Silicon Beach, somewhere in LA. Now, for the sake of this example, I'm just going to keep this person single forever, but getting married is honestly a huge financial hack. Maybe I should disclose that staying married can be a huge financial hack, splitting rent, etc. $150,000 salary, and we're going to assume that this person is increasing their income by 3% per year. And I am just going to assume they are just getting started on their wealth building plan. They have literally nothing in savings. Let's go ahead and plug in the rent at $2,000 a month, which seems pretty legit. That is on the insurance. That's probably maybe $20 a month. The rent is maybe $2,000. I don't see any rental insurance, but that's okay. She's calling car and health insurance going from 72 to 60, so that's $12,000 between the car and health insurance. That seems a little bit steep. Of course, it depends on your employer, but gosh, we got some bad health insurance if it's costing that much, but let's just go ahead and add it. We're calling the car payment $300 a month, which in this example, I'm just going to assume that we keep a car payment, because a lot of times by the time you pay a car off, you got to buy a new one. Cars are expensive. Groceries she has at $500 a month. Savings are at 10% of salary. I love to see it. And because we're not getting a tax deduction up here, I'm just going to assume that it's going to the Roth 401k in this example. And I'm going to be mean and assume no match on the 401k. Sometimes these startups can be a little rinky-dink on the 401k. Or you can work at Google and they'll match 50% up to the max. Dining out at $50 a week, I think, is going to be extremely hard. I couldn't even buy a croissant for $50 when I lived in LA. I'm not sure how the Spotify, Netflix, and stuff adds up. That's probably legit to $26, $28 per year, so I'm just going to plug that in somewhere as around $219 per month. We are calling a few small trips $5,000, and we got the cell phone at the end at $100 a month. And then she's saying that, hey, we have $25,000 left after all this. What about shopping, gym, student debt? That's of course subjective. Entertainment, totally agree. I don't know what we should round this. Maybe shopping's 100, gym's 100, entertainment is another 100. Should we just say like another, round it up to like 500 a month? So all of those living expenses add up to almost $3,500 a month, not including rent. Now, I've never met a person who doesn't want to be financially independent at some point, so let's just plug in age 60 here, and maybe we're just going to say we're going to try to live a pretty similar lifestyle. And of course, that is going to be inflation adjusted at 3%. So then when we break this down, we have the 150 gross, we have the expenses broken into the living expenses and the rent, and then we have taxes at $47,700. That's between state, federal, and FICA, which in her assessment, she claimed that the taxes were going to be closer to 51. That's probably possible from the withholding, but I'm guessing there would be some type of tax return, or refund. And then we have the savings to the Roth 401k, and then we have the we have unsaved cash flow. We can do whatever we want with $20,000. What do we want to do? Let's just say in this first example, we go ahead and save $20,000. So we just go ahead and plug in the savings, and that increases every year with the income. So now our cash flow looks like something like this. So you're saving that extra $20,000, and we're just going to spend the difference here. It's just a small margin. So if we take a look at the assets, we can see that we start out with zero, like we said at the beginning of the video, and we're saving the $35,000, and then we keep saving, and investing, and we get all the way up to age 60, and we end up with somewhere around 2.2 million. Seems like a pretty good nest egg. But because we've had the expenses growing at 3%, By the time we retire, this is what it looks like. We're withdrawing $143,000 from the portfolio, and that just continues to climb until we have a little bit of Social Security introduced. That kind of softens the blow a little bit, but things get really, really tough. Another way to look at this is that your withdrawal rate, everyone's heard of the 4% rule. You should try to stay right around, 4.5% to withdraw from the portfolio. It just starts out right from the bat at 5.9 and just gets ugly. And then we introduce Social Security, and that saves it a little bit, but it just continues to ramp up and it's not looking good. And that's pretty much what we can see from the assets. They're just continuing to drop. So this is not looking like a sustainable retirement plan. Interesting enough, though, if we bump the retirement out from age 60 to 64, we go from a pretty low probability of success to something reasonable. Just bumping that retirement out by 4 years just really helps sustain the assets, and we just didn't have to withdraw so much in the first couple years of retirement from the portfolio. Overall, I think it's possible to continue to live and retire in LA, but man, is it going to be tough, because I think we really missed out on probably most of the entertainment. It's a very expensive city. You're definitely not going to be balling out on a $150,000 salary.